What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the What the Fun Show. Today is a brand new series where we are taking a deep dive into some of the best of Batman. We call it Why So Serious? The best of Batman, and we're going to take a look at 4 Batman films, and we are going to review. We're going to review The Batman again. So we're looking at 3 leading up to The Batman. We're going to talk about The Batman 1 year later. So yeah, with me today, my name's Mike. With me today is Joe to talk about our first movie. How you doing today, Joe?
I am Joe. I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about Batman. He is not my favorite DC superhero, which you know, but he's still great. Like,
oh yeah,
come on, he's the I was gonna start making other references to superheroes, and I decided not to because I thought you might get upset. All right,
go ahead. I want to hear it now.
Oh, the Man of Steel. We're ready for him.
Oh, I mean, yeah, whatever. Batman's better. I mean, and there's nobody here to defend him. So,
Batman, you're right. No one's going to defend Batman against the Man of Steel.
Batman's better than the Man of Steel. All right. Well, listeners, thanks for joining us here today. If you have not already reviewed the show, I haven't done this in a long time. We haven't done this in like 2 weeks. Welcome back.
I know it's been a minute.
I know it's been a while. Anyway, if you're listening on a podcatcher of choice, please leave us a review. Apple iTunes is the best place to do so. We would love to read your comments on the show. Let us know how we're doing. If you're on Spotify, go to the mobile app and you can leave a 5-star review there. And if you're watching us on YouTube, first, hello. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. We're kind of close. So, but you could find us at YouTube at What the Fun Pod if you would like to go ahead and subscribe over there to help us out. But if you're also watching us on YouTube, leave a comment down below and let us know what you thought of this first episode. Today, not a lot of housekeeping, just a brand new episode of Test Your Might, which is our video game debate show, so go ahead and take a look at that. But today, we are starting with the best of Batman series, Why So Serious? And we, you know, Joe, we were originally going to skip animated Batman. We were going to just do the live action ones and just review some of those movies. But we decided against it, and
because it would have been a major disservice to Batman.
I mean, yeah, that true. So yeah, I think it definitely was an initial oversight, especially on my end, because I planned this whole series for us. But also, just in memory of Kevin Conroy, we also added Mask of the Phantasm, and that's the movie that we are starting off with. Mask of the Phantasm. It stars Kevin Conroy, the late Kevin Conroy, as Batman, of course. Also Dana Delaney as Andrea Beaumont, who is a pretty pivotal character in this. Couple of other things that we should mention. The Phantasm voice, who is this like ghost antagonist, is a voiced by Stacy Keach. And Alfred is voiced by original animated series Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. Alfred has some of the best scenes in this movie. It's just,
I liked young
loved
Alfred.
it. You liked young Alfred?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we got Robert Costanzo reprising his role as Detective Bullock from the animated series. And then, obviously, a little bit of a spoiler, but this is an older movie. The Joker's in this movie, and Mark Hamill obviously reprises his role as the Joker.
If the Joker is spoiling a Batman film, is that really spoiling? I feel like they're synonymous with one another.
I guess, but you don't know you don't know Joker is in this movie until later parts of the movie. So that's
true.
That's sort of why I said a light spoiler. But regardless, this was directed by Eric Radomski, Bruce Timm, and it is based off of Batman by Bob Kane. You know, yeah.
The comics or graphic novels,
yeah.
depending on what you would like to call them.
So this was one of the first like animated feature-length films. It actually went to theaters, and it had a budget of $6 million, but in the box office, it was a little under that actually, so $5.6 million. I don't think that this movie made its money back until it hit home video. So it went to VHS. I had this on VHS. That's how I watched it. I rented it and then bought it. So Mask of the Phantasm, Joe. Let's get into patent pending spoiler-free review.
Oh, if you're ready, guys, Batman. He's got a cape and a cowl. Is that a cowl?
Yeah, it's a
man.
cape
I'm gonna
and a
call
cowl.
it that. Cape and a cowl. He's got a belt of utility. You want to see some grapples? And I mean with a grapple gun, not hand to hand. You're gonna find him here. It's Batman. It's classic Batman. If you were alive back when the animated series was around, you know what I'm talking about. He fights bad guys. Are there bad guys? Of course there's bad guys. Are they a bit gangstery? They're really gangstery actually in this. We got gangsters. We've got bad guys. We've got Batman. That's it.
All right, cool. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
So if you haven't seen Mask of the Phantasm, I truly do sort of beg you to watch it. It is one of my favorite Batman movies. It is animated, but it is also, I mean, Kevin Conroy at his best, Mark Hamill at his best. Like these two together just make for fantastic time. And you have these two characters over 78 minutes of film. Joker's roughly halfway in, but still, like you have this wonderful story. This movie does serve as the animated series origin story for Batman. And so this was a movie that was made a little bit into the animated series, and the animated series, I don't know, listeners, if you don't know this, didn't necessarily explore the origins of Batman. And so they created a movie, they made their own movie, their sort of new spin on how Batman was created. And you do find this, in this mob story, and that's what happens at the beginning of Batman. It's all about the mob at this point until supervillains take over. And so we're gonna get into spoilers here. So if you have not seen Mask of the Phantasm, please stop the podcast. Consider this your official spoiler warning. Hey, you!
What the?
What are you doing?
Who, me?
Do you want to be spoiled? No? Well then,
Stop it. Get some help.
so you don't feel like this guy. Instead, let it be a surprise.
Oh, I like surprises.
So go watch the thing before you move on in the podcast, okay?
Alrighty then.
All right, that was your official spoiler warning. Again, go watch Mask of the Phantasm. It is found on HBO Max, so if you have a subscription there, go ahead and check it out. Otherwise, it's kind of cheap to just buy digitally as well. So
Yeah, visit Hollywood Video, your local Blockbuster, something like that.
yeah. Get a VHS player.
Grab a VHS player, pop that bad boy in, make sure you rewind it first so you start in the beginning and not whoever left off. Yeah.
So Joe, I was talking to you a little bit about this particular movie before we were recording, and it's not your favorite because of the mob stuff, right? You really don't like Inside Baseball a little bit here. Joe doesn't like gangster movies
I don't.
at all. So this
Zero
one
of them.
may have hit you a little different than it does. I would say most people. I would argue most people.
Arguably, most people really like gangster stuff, right? It's huge. There's like, we have the Godfather series, we've got the Sopranos. There have been 1,000 other things similar in that vein of mobster, film, movie, TV shows. It just doesn't do it for me, right? Everyone's got their thing, and for me, Batman is. I'm admitting it right now. Batman is a superhero. He's got super intellect. That's it. No superpowers.
Super karate.
But he is no basic
Super
karate.
detective.
He gets his butt kicked by a girl in this.
Yeah,
He's
that's
definitely
when
not
he was
super
starting
karate.
off. That's when he was starting off, okay?
Super lame karate. But he's got a super
Jiu-jitsu.
intellect. And I love Batman with superheroes. I love when he has to take on, the baddies that aren't real. So for me, the gangster movie part, it pulls me out a bit. I think this movie does a really good job balancing that with the Joker. You get a lot of the backstory to begin with. So the first half of the movie, you get a lot of backstory, and they're kind of weaving that with this gangster, and it makes sense. They did a really good job because Andrea Beaumont, Andy, is Bruce Wayne's love interest, and she just happens to be the daughter of a corrupt businessman who gets involved with the local mafia mob, whatever you want to call them.
Yep. Yeah,
So
I mean, that's the cool thing about this movie is that it's sort of twists and spins the origin story of Batman.
It did do that.
The parents are still dead. They were still killed. That is still it's all right, we're in spoiler territory. That still is the essence of why Batman decided to seek vengeance on Gotham and the crime bosses and the crime lords at the time. Little did he know, and this is an origin story, little did he know that there was going to be a little Joker that is going to sort of bring in the new era of super baddies and super villains. But yeah, this movie it solidifies why I love Batman as much as I do as a character, because there has been several origin stories throughout the years. I mean,
yes.
We are going to literally talk about 4 different origin stories in this podcast series that we're doing. Like that's literally how, essentially that's going to happen. But all of them work, and all of them work in their unique ways. And that's why I love the story of Batman, is because you can start like where you want creatively, right? Like creatively, right? This starts in a certain way, and it gets to a point where we see the Batman that we know and love. Like it ultimately does get to sort of the same sort of character. Now, obviously, some of them are going to have different nuances, right? Like the Christian Bale Batman is different than the Kevin Conroy, or even, to Michael Keaton and Robert Pattinson, but like that's what's really cool about this, is that this origin story does it still
gonna
works.
do Clooney dirty like that, huh?
Yeah, Clooney was a terrible Batman. Good Bruce Wayne.
Ouch.
Terrible Batman. Val Kilmer, good Batman, terrible Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, fair point.
But yeah, Joe, like you're right. This does start off with sort of the mobster mentality. Like, young Bruce Wayne is on a mission to enact vengeance upon Gotham City and the crime that is there.
Young-ish Bruce Wayne, very young-ish. Dude, he still looks like a 40-year-old man. Even young Bruce Wayne, like, sure, he's got kind of baby face-ish, but when you look at him, this is a fully built, absolutely massive young man. So he still looks like Batman, right? He's got the frame of Batman. He's Batman, just like right before Batman. This isn't like, so this is one thing like about his origin in this one that I didn't love so much, was it was like, okay, this is 2 years before Batman, and we get like the 2 years prior to becoming Batman, Bruce Wayne. And he's like, after all this time, right? His parents died when he was a child. But finally, 15 years later, he was like, man, I think I'm going to do something about it. Okay. And then like within no time at all, you're like, he's Batman. And you get that Alfred sees him in the cape and cowl. And you're like, oh, I guess he just is Batman now.
I don't know, but like, I'll push back on that idea a little bit, because I think what they did in this movie, made sense as far as what sort of events pushed him to become the Batman. Like, yeah, there was he already had it resolved in his mind that he was going to take vengeance on Gotham City and the crime lords and stuff like that. But the symbol of Batman wasn't there until he met a girl. right? Until he engaged that girl. And we'll talk about this girl here in a second.
In hand-to-hand combat?
Andrea Beaumont. No. Like literally was about to marry this girl.
Both of them, though. He engaged her in hand-to-hand.
The girl.
and
Yeah, okay, sure.
put a
Stop
ring on
it. I'm talking.
It's so funny.
You're so a dad.
True.
And she breaks off the engagement. And he, her and him like sort of see these bats fly out of this cave, and it becomes that symbol. And I think that you sort of nonchalantly rubbed it to the side, but that scene where Alfred sees Batman for the first time, and his facial expressions and his reaction to the symbol of Batman is very powerful to me.
Yeah, because earlier in the film, Bruce is talking, right, after he takes on the thugs when he and Andy are together, and he's all, I didn't strike fear into them. I need to be able to strike fear into my enemies, so they, because he needs to be a symbol of fear before he can be, before they're afraid of him. Essentially, He takes them on, and they don't care. He's just a dude. He's a well-dressed dude, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're not worried about him, and they kind of beat him up. He does a good job, but eventually he gets hit in the chest with a baseball bat by a dude speeding on a motorcycle. Like, that would kill a normal person, so good on him for not dying. But he definitely didn't strike fear into the hearts of his enemies. And that scene definitely gives you that feeling of, oh man, like if Alfred's scared of him and he knows who he is, like, it's doing the right thing.
Which is what I think.
Over it.
No,
it was
I
important.
hear you on that. Which is what I think like this movie and The Batman does well with Robert Pattinson. The most recent one is that like
Sparkly boy.
Yeah, Batman is he's got gadgets, right? He is a super detective. He is the world's greatest detective, right? But
in DC, yes.
Oh, stop it with your Sherlock Holmes nonsense. But
literally the world's best detective.
Batman is. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say here is that
Batman v Sherlock.
Oh my gosh. What I'm trying to say is that what those two films did really well in my opinion, over what any other film has done as far as Batman is concerned, is really focus on that fear factor. Like, if you watch the animated series, like this Batman, he's sort of like a Joe Schmo, right? Like he has the gadgets, he has the ability to fight, he has the world's greatest detective, but ultimately, like, especially in the animated series and how dark they portrayed him, it is the fear that he instills into his enemies that gives him the advantage. Which
I think it helps him for sure.
Yeah. Which is a good transition to our antagonist, which is the Phantasm, who is this like ghostly figure who has the stature and the figure as far as how they show show the Phantasm throughout the movie, sort of like Batman, and Batman is eventually blamed for a lot of his crimes, and he is on the run as a wanted fugitive.
It was interesting. I didn't hate the intro of the Phantasm. I hate the name though. Can we talk about the name? Like, could they pick something better, anything better? It doesn't do it for me. It doesn't roll off the tongue easy. It doesn't give you an idea of what you're looking at. But the character was cool. Like, the costume, super awesome. The voice, super awesome. The way that it entered scenes and like attacked and stuff like that with the smoke coming in with the smoke screen, the way that it is dissolved into seemingly nothingness every time it wanted to disappear. All of that was so cool, and I think it was just sold short by this Phantasm. Like, a phantom makes sense. I would have even accepted the Phantom because that rolls off the tongue really well. But yeah, the villain was awesome. The intro to the villain was really cool. The mask, almost Punisher-esque. The other aspects of the look kind of reminded me of Death. The little wannabe sigh thing on the hand, all kind of emblematic of, death is coming, vengeance is coming. So I loved all that. I think they did a really good job with character design for the Phantasm.
Yeah.
Name design.
Yeah, before we get into like the twist and who the Phantasm is, like what's your favorite moment in this movie?
With the Phantasm or just favorite moment in general?
In general.
Ooh, I really liked the young Alfred scene trying to convince Bruce to have a normal life. I'm a sucker for those happy endings and things like that. I'm a Hallmark movie guy. So the heartfelt moment between Alfred and Master Wayne, not Batman. I think that was my favorite moment. I really enjoyed that. It was a fun little twist. Have you watched any of the HBO? I think it's on HBO, but the series about Alfred,
Pennyworth?
like beforehand.
No.
Yeah, it's
No.
very good. It kind of gave me those vibes of like, who Alfred is before he's just the servant of Batman, or just the servant of Mr. Wayne. Kind of that fatherly figure. After his parents died, Batman or Bruce, all he has is Alfred.
Yeah.
So the guy who raises him, the guy who teaches him good versus bad, the guy who helps instill a moral compass into him. The only reason that Bruce / Batman doesn't, cross that line is Alfred.
Yeah.
And we have this very human moment between Alfred and Bruce where he's like, hey, there's this girl. And I know you made a promise to your parents, but like you have a chance at living a happy life.
Yeah.
At a good future, a happy future where you can have kids and have everything that you would possibly want, everything your parents would want for you. And I really liked that moment. For me, that was probably my favorite moment of the film.
I got a couple. Majority of them have to do with Alfred. The two scenes where he walks in on Bruce Wayne and Andrea Beaumont, making love, was hilarious. He just like he has a tray both times. He walks in, he's like, oh, and then just like moves his eye. He doesn't say oh, but he's just like, yeah, it's just super funny. And then I think my favorite part in the whole movie was when Alfred sees the Batman for the first time, that he sees him in the cape and cowl. Like it's just very, very, very powerful. I also enjoy how Batman is he's not doing well, like mentally, and he's like, Alfred, you don't know me, and he's like, I very well bloody should. I wiped your butt growing up, and
I changed your diapers and wiped your butt.
It was,
oh shoot, I guess you do know me.
Yeah, it was like that was really funny too. But also Mark Hamill as the Joker is just tremendous. Like there's no better Joker, and arguably there's no better Batman in Kevin Conroy, but when they reveal that Joker is going to play a part in this whole story as well, when that one mob boss finds the Joker at that broken down amusement park, I believe.
Yeah,
like
the world of future.
Just the reveal of Joker coming out of the shadows was just really fitting and really awesome. So yeah, awesome stuff. Okay,
it was
so
good. I don't love Batman in this though. Like as far as Batman goes, I think Bruce Wayne takes the cake for me in this Batman film. I really loved, and it makes sense, right? It's more of an origin story than it is a Batman film. So we have a lot more Bruce in this than we do Batman moments. So for me, Bruce really takes the cake. So Kevin Conroy as Bruce Wayne, like for me, he kills it. And his Batman was weak, or at least weaker in this for me, than like the animated series, right? Where we have Batman all the time, or a lot more Batman. But like, I really loved Bruce Wayne in this.
Once again, I'm pushing back on this idea.
Well, of course you would, naturally.
Yeah, because I mean, not even on the basic level of they are one and the same, right? So you're looking at the same character, right? But
ish, yeah.
But I'm pushing back on it because, especially near the end of the movie, you truly see Bruce come through Batman in a way that you just weren't expecting going through the movie. Like he's battling. Let's just you know, screw the cap off. Andrea Beaumont, her dad was murdered by none other than
Who?
the Joker. The Joker does end up killing her dad. Did you know that? It's the
I knew that. I was assuming that because Batman draws the line of red, and he's like, sudden realization. I know who that guy is, and I was like, was that the same guy standing outside the door with the pointy nose?
Yep.
I
So
just wasn't 100%.
That's the twist to this, is that this is also a Joker origin story as well. This is one of the twists in this movie, which is again works really well too. Joker was like a hitman, so to speak, within the crime bosses at the time, and he murders Andrea Beaumont's dad, and so Andrea Beaumont decides to enact vengeance in a more lethal way than Batman on Gotham City and the crime bosses, and she becomes the Phantasm, and so she is revealed to be the Phantasm, and so. The reason why I push back on that is because near the end of the movie, you sort of see Bruce's human, you know, non-Batman side really leak through the cape and the cowl when he's talking to Andrea at the end as Batman. And that's why I think that, like, your more enjoyment of Bruce, it's one and the same. Like, I don't know if you can separate them here.
Easily separating. I'm doing it. Bruce is great. And those moments, like, the reason that he can be real with her is because she already knows his identity. If he still had to be the Batman and he couldn't hide who he was, that would be one thing, because he wouldn't be able to come through as Bruce. The only reason I feel that he can come through as Bruce is because she already knows who he is. And that's like another big thing. Is like, this is the first time, at least that I know of, where Batman's secret identity isn't a secret to someone who's absolutely pivotal to the role of the film.
Yeah.
So the Phantasm knows who Batman is, right? And she finds out kind of later when Batman's at the grave. But I don't think that would have happened had, you know, that earlier run-in where she literally saves Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, from all the cops.
Yeah.
Right, so the Bruce Batman kind of veil at that point is very torn and doesn't exist between those two characters. The fact that the Joker was there for all of that as well was a little weird for me. So like that was like, ooh, Batman is like, he's being very vulnerable in front of, you know, who is arguably
wasn't Joker
his
knocked
biggest
out
enemy.
at that time, or?
No, he was just not in the shot.
Yeah, I mean,
right? He was just out of picture.
So therefore out of earshot. Let's just call it that.
Fair enough. So
Fair,
you have these very real moments between Bruce or Batman and the Phantasm, who happen to be Bruce and Andy, and great. I mean, great for the film. I loved those moments because, for me, you're right. That was just Bruce and Andy, because Andy had already had her, you know, mask taken off at this point. She was exposed for who she was.
Yeah.
So you got these very real moments between, as you say, Batman and Andy. For me, that was Bruce and Andy, because she knew who he was. If she didn't know who he was, I don't think that would have happened.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, just like anything, as far as Batman in the animated series is concerned, even the live action movies, there's a big fight at the end between Batman and the Joker, and also Phantasm or Andy, and Batman ends up getting away after Andy, I believe, sacrifices herself and plants or starts a bomb that goes off, and obviously Batman escapes. The Joker obviously escapes too, and then also although Batman thought that Andy died, she also does escape as well. It's shown that she's on a boat back to overseas or anywhere, wherever she's going, just far away from Gotham, just far away from Gotham, and you know, we're not to hear from her.
She leaves a clue
again.
though. It was very very Catwoman-esque from the newer films.
Yeah.
No, leave a clue. I'm still alive.
Yeah.
The hanging necklace in the cave.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at the very end of the film, Batman and Alfred having a very real, vulnerable moment together again. Bruce is upset and sad because he thinks the love of his life is dead again, gone again. And yeah, you get this, shining thing from up. It looks like the same path that the car drives on, but when they pull back, it's barely a walkway. So you see this path. There's something shining, and she leaves this memento for him, right? Hey, remember me, who I was, not who I am.
Right. Exactly.
At least that's what I get from it,
So, any final thoughts before we get into some trivia?
I thought it was really good. I don't love it as the origin story for Batman, but I really enjoyed this film. This is the first time I watched it. As someone who did watch the animated series, 30 years ago or whatever, 20 plus years ago, this was fun. It was fun for me to revisit and watch something from that era, as well into adulthood, as a grown up many years later. I enjoyed it. I think this is a great thing to have added to our why so serious kind of Batman origin stories, or the different Batmans and their iterations.
Mm-hmm. Mask of the Phantasm is one of my favorites. The two animated movies that are based on the animated series in Mask of the Phantasm and Sub-Zero. I watched Sub-Zero first when I was growing up, and then went back and watched this, and I think this is just, I wouldn't call it like light years ahead of Sub-Zero, but this is a step above, like just the storytelling, the visuals, and just having the Joker in this just really does help it as well. So yeah, Mask of the Phantasm, just such a wonderful movie. Let's get into some trivia, and then we have one more segment for y'all before we leave. Most of the movie is based on the graphic novels Batman Year One and Batman Year Two. The flashback to Batman's first night of crime fighting, donning a jacket and ski hat, is parallel to the book 1 of Year One. The design and concept of the Phantasm was derived from the Reaper, who is the primary villain in Year Two.
Look at that, a better name. I knew it was in there somewhere. See, that's what they needed for the film. They should have called it the Reaper.
So this harkens back to what we talked about at the beginning. Late in production, Warner Brothers decided to make the movie a theatrical release instead of the originally intended direct-to-video feature. While the animators were thrilled and extremely grateful for this decision, this left them with less than a year of production time and scrambling to convert the aspect ratio to widescreen. So again, this was the first animated Batman movie in widescreen.
Oh, that's so funny that they had to switch it. Now everything's just widescreen and they cut it for home video. We're just gonna hack off the edges. You don't need that bit anyways.
The computer-generated version of Gotham City seen in the opening credits was originally designed to be used in the Batman animated series. The purpose was to create a virtual set to replace hand-painted backgrounds and help speed up production of the series. It was never used for that purpose.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, the animated series, and that's part of its charm, right? It is all hand-drawn, all dark, just its animated aesthetic is applauded.
It's real.
And real to this day.
Yeah, because it was real. Like, real things are just better. Like, we love digital things, right? Digital things are great. It allows us to do stuff like this. But real things are so much better. Like, I love that. That's like original animation style. Hey, we're going to hand draw things, and it just is, to me, it just is better. Maybe that's not true for everyone. All the animators out there hate me. No. Oh, digital's better now. Sorry.
Mark Hamill went to a screening at a local theater during the film's theatrical release. With only a few people in attendance, he asked them to sit with him before the film started. Wouldn't that be sick?
Would that be?
That would be so cool to watch this movie with Mark Hamill.
Yeah, this is post animated series. This is
Yeah.
post Star Wars. This is famous, world famous Mark Hamill saying, "Hey, do you want to watch this movie with me? Like, I would love for you to enjoy this experience with me." Like, yes,
Exactly.
yes, I would like that very much. Thank you, sir.
The opening theme contains an in-joke. The choral chanting consists of the names of orchestrators Lolita Ritmanis, Michael McCuston, and Peter Tomashek, among others, sung backwards.
Okay.
A little
all
interesting.
Right. That's fun. It's fun. I like it.
A little
The
fun.
backwards stuff is a little weird to me sometimes, but...
The last one here. The writers were highly cautious of placing the Joker in the film, as they did not want any connection to the Batman, so the 1989 movie. But writer Michael Reeves said, "We then realized that we could make his appearance serve the story in a way that we never could in live action." Oh.
Yeah, that's fair. I think they did a really good job with Joker.
I think... I think his implementation was, although loud, because Joker is always loud, it was subtle in its own way as well. Like it didn't necessarily hinder the plot at all.
No, it worked really well with it.
Yeah.
It felt very genuine, like why he was there. It wasn't weird, and for me, like I understood kind of that he was supposed to be the same person in the photos. I have always disassociated Joker from having anything to do with the mob people because I feel like he dislikes them as much as everyone else.
Exactly.
But maybe that's because he was part of it. So now it makes sense. It's like I was part of that. I had to kill people for that, and now it made me crazy. And cue the Joker.
Here we are.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to our rankings. Out of 5,
0.
Joe.
Oh, no, not 0.
Out of 5, Joe. 5, again, listeners, on our scale, on the What the Fun scale, 5 is amazing, 4 is great, 3 is good, 2 is okay, 1 is bad.
I think that it solidly deserves a 4.
There you go.
I don't think it's in 5 territory. I think there's better Batmans. But I think for being an origin story, being animated, being what it is, I think it is a absolute 4. And if if you're older like us and you watch the animated series, or if you love Batman, absolutely a must watch.
Yeah. All things animated Batman from the 90s, the animated series and these movies, is a 5. But in context of movies in general, this is a 4. I will agree with you, because what in the context I mean is because I believe that there are 5 out of 5s as we move through this podcast series. And I can't warrant this as a 5 when I'm talking about some of the other movies, and we will get to that. And now we will introduce a segment only for this podcast series. And who knows, maybe if we like this series, we will continue it afterwards. But we're going to rank the Batmans.
Oh, yikes.
Throughout this series. And Kevin Conroy, his Batman is starting off at number 1 because it's the only one we reviewed. So we'll see where Kevin Conroy stacks up against the other Batmans here. Because... Yeah,
are we ranking Batman and Bruce as a combined unit, or are we gonna separate the personalities?
Nope. Combined unit.
Okay. All right.
Bat Bruce. We're combining them. And so Joe, this is going to be an individual, and Justin, when you're listening to this back, so this is going to be an individual ranking. So you have your ranking of Batman, and I have mine, and so will Justin as he joins us throughout this series as well. We missed you on this episode, Justin. So Kevin Conroy, currently number 1 on each of our lists because it's the only one we've reviewed. Let us know what you think of Mask of the Phantasm. It is one of my favorite Batman movies. I think it's reached a little bit into Joe's favorite territory as a 4 out of 5. I would venture to say. I would venture to assume, but I don't know.
You could just ask me. I'm right here.
Sure.
Is it one of my favorites? It's I think for animated stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. I'll easily put it up there as one of my favorite animated Batmans.
All right, awesome. So, Mask the Phantasm, go ahead and watch it. If you haven't already, what are you doing? And I don't know why you got to this point of the podcast. So, continue with us on our Why So Serious Best of Batman series. As we tackle some of the best live action Batman movies. And hey, if we enjoy this, if you guys enjoy us, let us know if we want to continue after our 4-part series here that we have. So please leave us a review, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and like the video and comment down below. Would really appreciate it and would love to connect with you guys. So just go ahead and do that. Please. You could follow us on
awesome.
Twitter at WhatTheFunPod. You can connect with us there. Until next time, my name is Mike. That is Joe. This has been our review of Mask of the Phantasm. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.